everyone, it's Maddie. Today we're going to be discussing Nil by Lynne Matson. This is Lynne Matson's debut novel that actually came out quite recently this year. This book is about a girl named Charlie who, whilst walking in the Target parking lot, gets run over by a shimmering wave of air. She wakes up and finds herself naked, alone, and afraid on the island of Nil. Nil is an uncharted island that does not exist anywhere but there. No one can seem to chart it, find it on any maps, but it's still there, and it gets explained to why it's there much later in the book. Eventually, Charlie finds a mini civilization on this island. There, she meets Thad, a boy who has been there for quite some time. Charlie discovers that you have 365 days to catch a gate on Nil. A gate is their fancy term for those shimmering waves of air. You have 365 days to catch these gates to get back home, or you die. Somehow, you just die. They don't explain how you die, you just end up dead. If they don't find your body, then you probably survived and made it back to the real world. I thought this was one of the most unique concepts for a book I have ever read. This was so interesting, and it reminded me so much of the show Survivor. They have to wear these like handmade things, and they have to build shelter and drink water from these lagoons. It's just so cool and amazing. I love this book. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, or a 90% on the scale out of 100, because that's what you get percents out of. This book was light, it was fast-paced, it was just so unique. It's also really funny because right now in class we're reading Lord of the Flies, and I found a lot of comparisons between Lord of the Flies and this book because everyone gets stranded on an island and they have to elect someone to power. But I didn't see much of the power struggle in this book as we do see in Lord of the Flies. But anyway, back to Nil. This book is actually told in dual perspectives. It's from the point of view of Charlie and Thad. I actually really enjoyed the dual point of views because I felt like they each had their own personality. Thad had his own personality. Charlie had her own personality. They each sounded like their own gender. That's definitely a problem in a lot of books that do dual point of views because the author, if they're a woman, sometimes they make the male perspective sound female, or vice versa. Like if it's a male author, sometimes they'll make the female perspective sound male. But I felt Lynne Matson did a wonderful job of differentiating between their two voices. They were very different, and yet I loved both of them. I really enjoyed Lynne Matson's writing style. I felt like I could visualize everything very clearly. It was really nice to see the mixture of character personality and thought and plot and setting. It was just a lovely mixture. I liked most of the characters in this book. All of them were so unique and different and just well developed. The only thing that made me sort of upset about this book was the fact that there was insta-love. You kind of expected the insta-love. I mean, I could guess who was going to end up together in the very beginning of this book. Nonetheless, I did ship them, so it was a good insta-love. It's just that insta-love sort of upsets me a little bitty bit. I actually did tear up a bit in this book, which is very weird because I wasn't really emotionally attached to the character that died, that I cried over their death. At the very end, I did start crying because of something, and ooh, I'll talk about it in the spoilery section because it hurts in the heart because you don't know. You don't know. I could also really relate with the main character, not because I had suddenly ended up on an island and met a gorgeous guy there, but because she played volleyball and I play volleyball. On the island, she got to play beach volleyball a lot, and I love volleyball. Every time she talked about how much she loved it and how she felt home on the court, I could just really relate to her then. That is the end of the non-spoilery section, so if you have not read this book, I would definitely go pick it up at your closest Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, other places that you buy books from. I would read it and then I would come back so we can discuss it. Bye, non-spoilery people. Boop, 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 boop. I had several of the stab moments when I was reading this because Bart, he was so rude and tried to steal everyone's gates as they were trying to leave. I wanted to punch him every single time. It seemed like he was trying to flirt with Charlie in the beginning, and that just did not work for me at all. Go away, Bart. I was so glad when he just showed up in the ocean after running away. His character was just an annoyance and was just keeping Charlie and Thad apart. He was just like, you should like avoid going out with Thad, cause he totally used to date some of the girls on the island.
No, Bart, shut up, shut up, shut up.
There were so many deaths in this. I wish I could count, but I can't remember all of them. I was not emotionally attached to Tala whatsoever. I sort of had a dislike for her character. I started tearing up when she died, and I don't know why. I think it was just Lynne Matson did a good job of somehow getting me emotionally attached to a character I didn't even know I was emotionally attached to. And I also teared up at the end when she didn't know if Thad was dead or alive. He took 51 days to talk to her. 51! And 51! I'm so happy that they ended up together in the end, but 51 days, man. 51 days you kept her hanging. You made her not know if you were alive, and she, with all the Google searching and the obsessive compulsiveness, it was really weird in the beginning how they all just accepted that they all somehow ended up on a deserted island, and the gates brought them there, so they figured the gates brought them back, like just because the information was there before. Charlie arrived on the island and decided to question things and think about things and finally discover the answers and some of the island's secrets to give to people. I am so glad they eventually explained how the island got there and explained what those carvings were there for and how the gates happened. I'm so glad that Charlie was the awesome conspiracy theorist of the group. Oh my god! In the end, when Thad pushed her through the gate, I was in the car with my stepmom and I yelled at my book. I yelled at it because Thad, why did he did that? I mean, why would you do that, Thad? She had a really long time left, and you probably had 6 hours left to survive. He survived anyway, but still, Thad, that was a stupid move, man, even though you did it out of love and everything. She probably had the most likelihood of surviving out of everyone on the island at that moment. The people were from everywhere. There weren't just people from America. I loved how there were people from China, and there was someone from Australia, Switzerland, from France, and it was just awesome. What did you think of this book? I really, really enjoyed it. I can't wait to meet Lynne Matson soon so I can tell her how much I really enjoyed it. Leave your opinions down below in the comments so we can discuss it. Don't forget to check out our Twitter account at 2bookteens with 2 S's, our Instagram account at 2bookteens, my Goodreads page, Maddiekins121, the Bookbusters Goodreads page, the Bookbusters Twitter page, the Fandom Monthly Twitter page. I will link all this stuff down below. And also, check out the latest issue of Fandom Monthly. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!